Welcome, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about another bipartite network, and this one is related to the Game of Thrones series. And what I did was I found a data set on Kaggle that takes battles up through book 5 in the books, and takes the battles and then takes the attacking king for which the forces are representing, and then it takes the attacking houses or the defending houses and the defending king. And basically, we're building a two-node network from the people's perspectives, the kings and the houses, and then as one node type, and the other node type would be the battles themselves. So a king or a house is connected to a battle, and then we're going to use that to project to make projections onto the people's node set and into the battle's node set to kind of see like which uh, which battles are interrelated a lot, and see if we could see the alliances in or rivalries in terms of that. So this is the link to the data set, and then this is kind of what the raw data looks like. So as you see, we're not gonna import all of them. So the columns that we're gonna use for our nodes are the attacker king, defender king, and these columns here that list the houses in the event. And then for our battles node set, we're going to be using the name of the battles. So once we build our node set, it looks like this. Um, and we have 38 battles with 520 connections. And if we go ahead and plot that, it's kind of what that looks like here, where the houses are the blue marks. And then we went ahead and actually also captured the attacking edge or the defending edge. So it lets you know if a house or if the person is attacking or defending at said battle. So like for instance, this top one here, we see that this node is the defender, while this node here is the attacker at that battle. It's still hard to like get a lot of information from here. So what we did is we then projected these, and then in the next graph, I'm trying to see if I can connect important battles to each other. So this is so we're gonna use the island method to kind of like filter out some of the battles depending on how many shared connections they have with each other. So this will tell us like if a battle has the same attackers and defenders, then you can kind of like correlate that to like, oh, this is part of a bigger overall conflict. Like let's say if it's House Stark and the Greyjoys against like the Lannisters, then against the Lannisters and the house that they're aligned to, we can kind of see those islands start to form as battles have more and more of the same belligerents in them. So here we have the graph at one shared participant. And as we can see, the network is still very convoluted. It's hard to kind of like see these islands forming for specific conflicts or campaigns. But then as we go up to at least two shared participants, we see the network kind of like take a little bit more shape, and we can see kind of which battles are interrelated to each other. At 3, things start getting a little bit more interesting. We start seeing these different islands, which kind of make a lot of sense. Like especially this little this island here with the fall of Kalen and the battle for the Shield Islands. So in order to get access to the Reach, you gotta go through the Shield Islands, and so this makes a lot of sense. And it's hard to get to the Shield Islands if you don't take the moat. So this island down here makes a lot of sense to me as a person who follows the books. And then up here we also see some more interesting formations. Let's see if we can even make a little bit more sense of this with shared participants 4. And here we definitely see like true island stuff step out, right? So we have again that the Battle of the Shield Islands as its own separate conflict down here. Uh, we have um, we have the invasion of the North when the Greyjoys betray the Starks, and then here we have all these conflicts, and these are all related to the fight in the Riverlands, both prior to the Red Wedding and after the Red Wedding. Okay, so we went through all the way up to 6 participants, but as we can see, it gets a little bit harder to find these connections of battles that have 6 shared participants. So here we have the commanders and the commanders in the houses and how they're interrelated, or the kings, excuse me, and how they're interrelated to each other. And then after that, we went ahead and projected into just straight attacking nodes. So all the people that formed alliances together and shared battles. So yeah, so here we see a pretty interesting network. We see that Stannis kind of connects the people above the wall with those really northern houses, which makes sense when Stannis went and traveled up beyond the wall to kind of like save the Night's Watch and to get a new army, right? Because he lost his army at the Battle of Blackwater. So this makes a lot of sense, and Stannis being in the middle of that is absolutely what I expected to see. And then in this here, which is the fight for the actual Seven Kingdoms between Robb Stark and the Lannisters, we see that there's a very interesting party here, which is the Freys, and that is crucial, right? Because Robb had an allegiance with the Freys, and then he marries somebody from a different house, and when he does that, the Freys stab him in the back, and they turn their cloak over to the Lannisters. So the fact that that node is connecting those 2 parts of the network is absolutely unparalleled. The Defender network is a little bit more different. We see a kind of separate subgraphs. We see that the Baratheon and Tyrell network is kind of on its own up here, which makes a lot of sense because once they started defending, once the Baratheons and Lannisters started defending, the plot had already moved on. Right, they were initially the attackers, and now after the Red Wedding, they became the defenders. So it makes sense that they shared a lot of defensive battles with the Freys and the Boltons after they turned their cloak. And then on this subgraph here, we see that Robb Stark is central to connecting all of these houses down. It makes a lot of sense there. We go on to look at the top central houses by degree. So as we expected, the 2 pivotal kings, the Lannister kings or Baratheon kings and the Stark king, have the highest degree as far as in people. And then in battles, the largest degree shared for battles that shared edges with other battles was the Siege of Winterfell. And then these kind of like northern battles, all that Deepwood Mott, Castle Black, those all shared a lot shared edges with other battles. Okay, and interesting here for the central attackers, which I kind of like alluded to when we looked at the central attackers graph. We definitely see that the Freys have the highest betweenness metric, and that makes sense as again they were pivotal in connecting the Robb Stark to the Lannister side of the network, because they were in the beginning of the war they were attacking with Robb Stark, and then midway through they turned their cloak and started attacking with the Lannisters. So the fact that they connected to makes a lot of sense. And then at the bottom we see that Robb Stark as a defender had the highest betweenness metric, which makes a lot of sense after he started capturing a lot of those points in the Riverlands. He had to start defending as well as he was getting invaded in the north from the Greyjoys. His houses up there had to take on defensive positions. So we see Robb Stark definitely have um, a high between his measure. So yeah, that was kind of my take on this. It was actually a lot of fun, and it's even more fun when I know the story and then the data backs it up. So like this thing here with the phrase is super cool. That we can see the data back that up in numbers and in plots. So yeah, awesome. Thank you.